Hi, welcome to Stock Takes. We're going to go through how to add items to a transfer. First, let's view our transfers. This will show you where the transfers are coming from and to, the status of them, how many items are on the transfer, and the percentage received. Let's create a new one. Here we can select the origin of the transfer, where it's going to. So in this case, from our warehouse to our London store. We can give it a name if we want to, otherwise one will be generated for us, and create that. You can see we have a new transfer now. You can see where it's from, where it's going to, and the date it was created. We have some external notes, or you can add internal notes for your staff. Some will be generated automatically by the app as well. And now we can add some items to it. If we go to this option here, we can add and edit these items in Shopify. Our transfers are integrated with Shopify transfers, so you can use their editor in Shopify, which is really good, to add and edit the line item quantities in Shopify admin. You can add items via the pop-up, like so. We can add items via point of sale. How we can do this, if we jump over to point of sale on the right hand side of the screen, we can open our transfer orders tile. This will show us any transfers that are coming to or from our location. We can select the transfer. We can then go add items. This will open up the camera scanner, or if you're using an external scanner, you'll be able to do it on this page. For example, a hardware scanner, Bluetooth scanner, or socket scanner. Or you can also search by clicking this button at the top. Here we can search by name, SKU, or barcode. We can select the product and add some to the transfer. Again, we can do this until we're happy. If we need to make any changes, we can select the item and update its quantities or remove it like so. Let's see what other options we have in Shopify admin. So we can also add items via a file if we're using a different system to generate these, or we've determined it in Excel. You can import these items. Here you can import it via product variant ID, the SKU, or the barcode, and those will be added to your transfer automatically. Or we can generate the transfer automatically. On the bottom option here, you can see generate items. This will use the replenishment limits that you've set in our app, the incoming and available stock in Shopify, to determine what items need to be added to your transfer. So for example, we can refill a location up to its maximum replenishment limit from what's available at the origin. Or if we're concerned about taking all the inventory from the origin, for example, taking all the stock from a warehouse, you can select this option here. This will then refill a store up to its maximum replenishment limits while respecting the minimum limits of the warehouse to ensure we always have some stock at the warehouse available for online orders, for example. And we have some other options down the bottom. You can also filter what products are included in this by status, so active and draft products. Or you can also limit this down by a specific vendor or by specific tag. These will be generated in the background for you while we do all the calculations to ensure that you're replenishing the right amounts. And you'll get an email when this is complete, where you'll be able to then view the transfer and see all the items that have been added. Once you're happy with all the items that have been added to a transfer, you can click Mark as Ready on either point of sale or Shopify admin, and then your transfer will be ready to be packed. We're now going to go through how to pack a transfer. If we view our transfers, we can see where they're going from, where they're going to, the status of them, and the items on them. Let's look at number 13, from our store to our warehouse. Here we can see what status it's in and what we need to do next, and the items that are on it. We can add a shipment. Here we can add any shipping information and set the quantity that we're going to ship. You can also use this button at the top to automatically set all quantities shipped for all line items, and that will speed up shipping for you. You can also do this via point of sale. We support running the whole transfer process from point of sale, so you can always do every step on POS as well. Let's have a look at how that works. So if we go over to our transfer orders tile, open that, we'll be able to see all the transfers to and from our store location that we're signed in at. Select the transfer. Here we can see all the information for it. We can create a new shipment, select the item to pack. Here you can see we can now scan using an external scanner, a hardware scanner, or Bluetooth scanner from this page, and that will start packing items. Or we can open the camera if we have a camera available to us. Or if we want to manually pack the items, we can click on it and select how many we want to pack. You'll see it tells you how many you've picked at the bottom. And once you're happy, you've picked and packed all the items, you can complete the shipment. You can then decide if it's an internal shipment, and we'll fill out some of the details for you. Or if you're shipping it using a tracking company, you can enter all that information, including the arrival date, which will display in both the Shopify admin and on the app. And then we can dispatch the shipment. You'll see now that the transfer will then move to in progress, and you'll be able to see the shipment as well. Here you can see we now have the shipment en route, and it's ready to be received. We're going to go through how to receive a transfer. First, let's look at our transfers. We're going to look at number 17 here. We can see on here any notes, any shipments, and the line items themselves. And that's where we can receive it. We can receive it on Shopify admin. This will open up the transfer in Shopify admin, and we can receive it manually. Or we can do it all from point of sale. Let's hop over to there. On the right hand side, you can see our point of sale. We can access the transfer orders tile. From here, we select the transfer that we're dealing with. You can see it's in progress. 2 have been shipped. We can select a shipment to receive. Again, we can see the carrier information, and we'll also be able to see any tracking information here as well. Select the shipment. From this screen, we can now start scanning using a external scanner, such as a hardware scanner, Bluetooth scanner, or socket scanner. We can open the camera and scan the barcodes to receive the items automatically, or we can click on the items and manually receive them. If we've not received something, we can reject it as well. You can see the status changes at the bottom here as we're going through. Once we've finished receiving the goods, we can click Finished. Here we can capture any additional information about the shipment. So if it was missing items, if there were unexpected items, if we had to over-receive it, or we can add notes for anything else. And then from there, you can decide if you've partially complete the shipment, if you'll go back and scan some more items on it later, or if you completed the shipment. Let's mark it as partially complete. We can finish it off later. You can see now I can always jump back in and add any other items on that I need to receive.